Marketing is obviously a huge part of any brand because that's what helps make sales. But what happens when marketing tactics become shady and trick customers into buying subpar products? If you're new to my channel, my name is Marlena and I've been a cosmetic product developer and brand owner for over 14 years. I want to talk today about shady marketing tactics used by the biggest beauty brands in the world. Shady marketing tactic number one is holding back inventory to pretend that an item is sold out. Now, this one is super common. I know so many brands that do that, but does that mean that this is okay? Absolutely not. So brands do this because when an item is sold out, it gives that illusion of exclusivity, that it's so popular, it's sold out, you can't get it anymore. You have to buy it now or it's going to sell out again. So how do you know when brands actually sold out of this product or they're lying to you just to make a sale? If a brand sells out of a product and restocks that item in less than at least 8 weeks, they are lying to you. They're full of crap. The reason I know this is because of the timeline of cosmetic production. So I like to think of cosmetic production almost like baking a cake. You have all of these raw materials or ingredients that you need to make that product. So for cake, you need flour, eggs, water, cocoa, sugar, spices, all of these different things to make that cake. And they come from different parts of the world. So your flour is going to come from Canada, your eggs are going to come from Mexico, your sugar is going to come from India, and there are all these different places. It takes time to get all of those raw materials in. Now, once they get to the bakery, that takes time to actually bake the cake. Then they have to package that cake, then ship it to the distribution center, which is then going to go out to retailers or customers. So there's a lot of steps that happen in cosmetic production, and all of that takes time. Regardless of whether this is a new product launch or a reorder, it still takes several weeks just to get all of that to happen. So if a brand suddenly restocks in just a few weeks of that product, they're full of crap, they're lying to you because there's no physical way that that product could be made in that short of a time. Shady marketing tactic number two is creating limited edition products only to bring them back later. Now this one kind of goes along with number one, but this is when a brand says straight up that this is a limited edition product. Now, can a brand see success from a limited edition and it sold out and everyone loves it and they're super excited and they bring it back as a permanent part of the line? Absolutely. That is a great business move because if a product did that well, of course you want to sell it some more to more people. When I have an issue with it is brands that do this repeatedly with multiple launches, because in my mind I'm like, okay, every time they sell this limited edition product, they bring it back anyway, so it's not really limited edition anymore. I start side-eyeing those brands because I'm like, this isn't just you sold out, it did really great, and you actually want to make it permanent. This is a tactic you are using to get customers to feel like there's exclusivity. If they don't get it now, they'll never get it. They have to buy it. And that's a shady marketing tactic. Shady marketing tactic number three is claiming a key ingredient as a selling point to charge you more money. Now, this one, I actually have a call out on this one, even though I like this product and I don't mean it to be tea or whatever.
Welcome everyone to our divine tea party.
So when brands use an ingredient as a key marketing term, like this is made with gold specks, it's going to make you look like the goddess that you are, and they use that all across their marketing, and that's the reason they use for charging you extremely high prices for a certain product, to me, that is shady marketing. Now, every brand has to do call out and marketing saying key ingredients, because otherwise, why would you know what makes your product special versus someone else's? So that's just part of marketing, is saying, hey, it has these ingredients, these are great for this, and this. When I have an issue with it, it is when a product is outrageously priced and centered around a key ingredient that is barely even in the product. So this is how you can tell that they're being shady. If a key ingredient, say it's gold specks, is being told that this is so special that it needs to be $500 for this because it has gold specks in it, if you look at the back of an ingredient deck, and we'll do another video on this later too, and you see that it's towards the bottom of that ingredient deck, it is not even a key thing of this formula. It is just slapped in there at the very bottom in the smallest amount, just so legally they can say that this is in their product. Now, when you look at ingredients, at the top of the list is where the highest amount of that product is. And as you go down further on the list, that is the smallest amount used. So for example, this foundation, I know this is going to sound shady. I'm not bashing this brand because I actually like this foundation, but she's pricey. This is a $200 foundation, y'all. $200.
Well, that's outrageous.
And I got it not because I was tricked by the marketing, because I know, because I've been in product development, I got it because I just wanted to test it to see why they're charging $200, because I know it's not because of this ingredient. So La Prairie has a caviar foundation. It supposedly has caviar in it. And I was like, okay. Now the packaging is actually really cool. So you have on the top, you have this part that has the concealer in there, and then you have the foundation on the bottom. So the packaging actually does cost a little bit more. Is this a great foundation? It actually is. I really do like this one. $200 though? But the whole marketing, even the name says caviar foundation. So I went and I looked at the ingredient deck and I saw it was towards the bottom of the list, which tells me this is not some life-changing product that's gonna, transform my skin and do my dishes for me and fan me when it's hot outside. This is just a marketing tactic used. Now, do I think this foundation should be a good price point? I do, because it's a good foundation. It's made in the US, so I know it's made at a quality place for the most part, and the packaging is expensive because you have concealer and foundation. I would say for a luxury brand, this should be under the $100 mark. Even if they charge like $80 or $90, that's still really expensive, but I'd be like, okay, it's got all these different things. But $200 around caviar foundation? No. That is just shady marketing tactics to get you to spend more money on that key ingredient. Shady marketing tactic number 4 is reusing the same products and calling it a different name to move slow inventory. Now, is this super common as well? Absolutely it is. So what some brands will do is if they have a product that is not moving quickly, or they overbought it and they have it sitting there and it's just not moving, what sometimes they will do is take a product out of its packaging, or they'll put it in new packaging, rename it, resell it as something different when it's the same shadow that they've had in something else in their collection. Now, do I think this is okay? Absolutely not. But is it really common? It actually is, more than people realize. So the reason brands do this is just to move that inventory, to try to get it, fresh packaging, because packaging is important. Some people really love like fun collection names or really pretty unique packaging. And so if they take that product and just rebrand it, repackage it, then suddenly it feels like it's new and exciting, and they move that inventory off of their shelves. Shady marketing tactic number 5 is renaming the same shade as something different to seem that it is new. Now this one I've seen, actually, I think it was MAC that does this a lot. Now, allegedly, I don't know, I don't work for MAC, but I used to think this years ago before I was even a product developer and brand owner myself. I was like, okay, I have I used to buy tons of MAC shadows, you guys. I have stacks and stacks of them because I really liked them and I would collect them. So I remember this one shade, I think it was called Parrot. It was like this turquoise color. And I bought another shade from a limited edition collection that had a teal color. And when I got it home and I swatched them side by side, they were the exact same color. And even back then I was like, is this the same shade? Because I have one that's called this, but this one's called that. Like, is this the same formula? Like, how do they have the same shade? And then I realized years on, as I did the job that I do now, that yes, they will use the same formula, call it a different name, again, to be part of a different collection, get the branding out there to get people to buy it, but literally it's the same exact shade and formula, just with a different name. Shady marketing tactic number 6 is claiming that a product is luxury when it's made at an inexpensive factory or with inexpensive ingredients. Now, this one, a lot of people give me pushback on it, but let me explain. So I've talked about products being made at certain manufacturers are going to have a certain price point over others. That is true. You can have 2 formulas from the same lab and have slightly different price points, but they are not going to have such extremely different price points to be luxury for one and absolute drugstore for another. Will there be some price differences from formula to formula? Absolutely yes. But in my mind, if a product is made in, say, China versus Italy, and I'm not bashing either country, I'm just laying facts out there. If a product is made in China and is labeled and sold as a luxury product, I know they're full of crap. And I know people are like, but Marlena, the packaging and the marketing and this and that, every brand has marketing. So it doesn't mean that one brand should charge more over the other just for marketing. Packaging, yes, packaging, as I've said, is super expensive. But in my mind, let me use this as an example. This is not the case. This, I think, is made in Italy or the US. But let's just say Patrick Ta. I love these blushes. I think they're beautiful. This is technically a luxury or premier product. Beautiful packaging. If this is going to be marketed as luxury and the package is luxury, but I open up the product and this says made in China, I'm going to be mad as a consumer because I know that the labor cost of having something made in China is less expensive. Am I bashing China? Absolutely not. I think there's some great manufacturers there, and I think there's some really bad ones as well. But most of what you're paying for when I'm ordering product from a manufacturer, it's going to be the materials, but it's going to be the cost of labor. So So that's why some brands, if they are an inexpensive brand, they're going to have a lot made in China because the cost of labor is a lot less than, say, Italy or the US. So in my mind, I feel like it's shady when brands have products that are, say, made in China. Again, I'm not saying that it's a bad product, but if it's made there and they're charging you $70 for a blush and it's made there, I don't care if the packaging is nice or not, it should not be labeled as a luxury product. Shady marketing tactic number 7 is using celebrities as the face of a brand that they will never use. Now, this one we all know. I just had to throw it in here because it's actually kind of funny at this point, because you see all those ads on TV for, like, you know, a drugstore mascara. It's like, oh, here's Kim Kardashian with this mascara. And you're like, girl, I know that she has $1 billion in her bank account. There's no way in hell she is using that L'Oreal mascara, but she is getting paid to talk about it. So she sure will take that paycheck and say that she is, when you know that it's completely BS. So this one is so obvious. It's been used for years and years and years of using a celebrity's name. Now, obviously, you know, that's part of marketing. Celebrities and big names sell products, so they're going to put that on, you know, whatever it is that they're trying to sell. But in my mind, there's still a little bit of shadiness, because it's like they're not even using their product at home. You know, they're in there with their Dior mascara putting that on. They're not using the drugstore version, but they'll still say that they are. Shady marketing tactic number 8 is when brands don't enforce influencers or content creators to disclose their sponsorships. Now, I know I'm going to get heat on this one. This is not meant to be shade or tea or anything like that, you guys, but I do generally want to talk about this. So when a brand sponsors a content creator or anyone to talk about their products and they are getting paid for that, legally it has to be disclosed. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with sponsorships. I actually believe in them a lot. But when I feel that it's shady, I start side-eyeing the brands when I see that something is obviously sponsored and it's not disclosed. I'm looking at the brand like, you didn't enforce that. And I know that the content creator is held responsible as well. But for me, when I see the massive company is actually making payments to people and not having them disclose that, I'm like, that's shady. But to content creators' defense, I will say this, that in industries outside of the beauty space, like I watch a lot of different types of videos like home decor and cooking, and then there's industries like gaming and fishing and all this other stuff. I see sponsorships all the time. They'll say like, this video is sponsored by so-and-so, and if you want to check out their products, go to this link. And it's no big deal. We're so used to hearing it now, and I never really see in the comments people complaining about it, except in the beauty space, which is interesting. I'm like, why is it a bigger deal here to say, hey, this video was sponsored, I appreciate them, if you want to check it out, here's the links below. Sometimes I'll still see comments like, I'm not buying that product and I can't trust you because this is just sponsored. But in other industries outside of that, I don't see it being a big deal. And I would love to hear you guys' thoughts on that. I'm just thinking out loud about this, like, why in the beauty industry is it such a big deal? Because I think that content creators would be less afraid to say it's sponsored if they didn't get pushback as much in it. Some, but at the same time, again, it goes back to like, I'm looking at that brand shady because you didn't enforce them to disclose it. So that's on them for their marketing strategy, trying to pull one over customers. Shady marketing tactic number 9 is adding false lashes to mascara ads. Now this one I know is getting tea territory because it was so huge in the beauty space. I'm actually not thinking of one instance for this. This has been happening, you all, for years. Since I was a kid, I've seen ads for mascara, you know, in a drugstore or something, and it looks like they have like 5 sets of lashes on. It's like, ooh, this new mascara will make your lashes look so thick. And you see the ad, and you're like, okay, that's some BS. And then you see that little tiny ass print in the bottom corner, like, product may have added whatever. There's like some sort of BS statement they put in the tiny print, and you have to like squint to see it because it's so small. Shady, shady, shady. Now, is this common and done by every major beauty brand? Absolutely. But it still bothers me. I don't know why, because it's just like, as a consumer, I want to see how that mascara is actually working. Like, I want to see if it's thickening. And there's some great mascaras out there that will give you some really good effect. If you would just take a picture of that, we want to see it without the false lashes and bullshit. Just show us what the mascara looks like already, okay? Shady marketing tactic number 10 is heavily photoshopped images for skin products. This is kind of like the mascara one too, you all. Like, this one drives me crazy because it's like, no one's skin is that smooth. Now, do I know that some photoshopping and filters and all that exist? Absolutely. I can't sit here and complain about it because it is common. But what I have an issue with is when it's so obviously filtered, or when swatches are faked. Oh my gosh, you guys, that one drives me crazy. You see swatches and they look like computer swatches, like were drawn on in Photoshop, and you're like, that's not even a swatch of that product. It drives me crazy because, you know, I know that everything has to be edited. As someone who's worked in the industry, I've had a a brand, there's a lot that goes into photo shoots. It's really expensive. You got photographers, models, the location, a hairstylist, a makeup stylist, a fashion person, a nail person. Like there's an entire team. It is thousands and thousands of dollars to do a photo shoot or video shoot for a product. So you're never going to get the absolute perfect shot just in one go. A photographer is going to have to touch up, like there may be a little makeup smear or an eyelash or a hair out of place or a shadow from something. Like it's impossible to get the perfect picture just on the fly when there's so much going on during a photo shoot. So there has to be some retouching done. I'm talking about when it's like so overly filtered that you can't even tell what that skin product looks like to even know how it's going to look on your skin. So that is my list of shady marketing tactics. I would love to hear your all feedback. Genuinely, like, what do you think about these? Do you agree with them? Are there any that I missed? Are there any of these that really piss you off more than others? Let me know in the comments below. So don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Come back next week for some more makeup, beauty, or fragrance content. Have a great week, you all, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.